Have you ever wondered why some people seem to live in constant clutter, even when they try desperately to keep everything organized? What if I told you that this mess might be more than just laziness or a lack of organizational skills? In fact, it could be a silent cry for help, a reflection of deep emotional wounds caused by a specific type of abuse, narcissistic abuse. Imagine walking into a house where every room tells a story of chaos and confusion, piles of clothes, scattered papers, objects without a designated place. At first glance, it may seem like a matter of neglect. But what if this clutter was actually a map of emotional scars left by years of manipulation and psychological abuse? In this video, we're going to dive deep into the dark world of narcissistic abuse and uncover how it shows up in surprising ways in our daily lives, especially in our ability to maintain order in our personal spaces. We'll explore the fascinating and disturbing connection between emotional trauma and physical clutter, revealing how our homes can become external reflections of our inner conflicts. Get ready for a journey of discovery that will challenge your perceptions of organization, mental health, and the invisible marks abuse leaves on our lives. By the end of this video, not only will you have a better understanding of the impact of narcissistic abuse, but you'll also have practical tools to start healing both your space and your mind. Narcissism, far from being just a personality trait marked by excessive vanity, is a complex disorder that can have devastating effects on the lives of those around the individual. People with Narcissistic Personality Disorder, NPD, often exhibit a pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy that permeates many aspects of their lives and relationships. Narcissistic abuse is a particularly insidious form of emotional abuse. Unlike physical abuse, which leaves visible marks, narcissistic abuse operates in the shadows, undermining the victim's self-esteem and confidence in subtle but deeply damaging ways. Victims often find themselves trapped in a cycle of manipulation, gaslighting, and constant devaluation. One of the most pernicious aspects of narcissistic abuse is trauma bonding, a psychological phenomenon where the victim develops a strong emotional attachment to their abuser despite the negative treatment they receive. This bond makes it extremely difficult for the victim to recognize the abuse and break free from it, perpetuating a cycle of suffering and emotional dependence. Now let's connect the dots between narcissistic abuse and the tendency toward hoarding or chronic disorganization. When a person is constantly subjected to an emotionally chaotic and unpredictable environment, as is often the case in relationships with narcissists, that internal chaos often manifests in the external world. Clutter can be seen as a physical expression of the emotional turmoil experienced by the victim. Every object out of place, every pile of unresolved items, may represent an unmade decision, an unresolved conflict, or an unmet emotional need. It's as if the person's physical space becomes a tangible extension of their disturbed mental state. Furthermore, hoarding can serve as a form of psychological protection. Surrounding oneself with objects can create an illusory sense of safety and control in a world that, for the victim of narcissistic abuse, often feels unpredictable and threatening. Each accumulated item may act as a small anchor in a sea of emotional uncertainties. A crucial aspect to consider is how clutter and low self-esteem feed off each other in a devastating cycle. Victims of narcissistic abuse often struggle with deeply rooted feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. The inability to maintain an organized environment can reinforce these negative beliefs about themselves, leading to even more disorganization and consequently more self-criticism. This cycle can be particularly difficult to break because the narcissist in their life may use the mess as yet another tool of manipulation and criticism. Derogatory comments about the victim's inability to keep things in order may become yet another weapon in the abuser's arsenal, reinforcing the victim's sense of incompetence and dependence. It's important to note that this pattern of hoarding and disorganization is not a conscious choice by the victim, but rather an unconscious manifestation of deep trauma. Recognizing this is the first step toward healing and change. To better understand why victims of narcissistic abuse often struggle with organization, it's crucial to examine the impact of trauma on the brain's executive function. Executive function encompasses a set of cognitive skills essential for planning, organizing, and carrying out tasks. Prolonged trauma, like that experienced in abusive relationships with narcissists, can significantly impair these brain functions. This can result in difficulties that may manifest as an apparent inability to maintain order, even when the person desperately wants to. It's as if the brain is constantly in survival mode, unable to allocate resources for tasks that seem less urgent, like organizing and cleaning. Paradoxically, clutter can also serve as a defense mechanism for victims of narcissistic abuse. In some cases, maintaining a disorganized environment may be an unconscious way to keep the abuser or others at a distance, creating a physical barrier that reflects the need for emotional protection. Additionally, hoarding may be a way of filling an emotional void left by the abuse. Objects can become substitutes for the affection and validation that the victim doesn't receive in their relationships, leading to an excessive attachment to material possessions. The good news is that, just as clutter can be a reflection of trauma, the process of organizing can become a powerful tool for healing. Here are some strategies to start. The first step is to recognize that clutter is not a reflection of your worth as a person. Validate your experiences and understand that your struggle with organization is a natural response to trauma. Small steps. Start with small, manageable tasks. Organizing a drawer or a shelf can be a big triumph when you're battling the effects of narcissistic abuse. Mindfulness and connection. Practice being present as you organize. Connect with your belongings and consciously decide what you want to keep in your life. Set boundaries. Learn to say no to objects and people that no longer serve your well-being. This can be a powerful exercise in personal affirmation. Seek support. Don't hesitate to seek professional help. A trauma-informed therapist can offer valuable tools for dealing with the effects of narcissistic abuse. Create a safe space, transform your environment into a refuge that reflects who you are and who you want to become, free from the negative influences of the past. Breaking the cycle, the journey to self-discovery. As you begin to organize your physical space, you may find that you are simultaneously organizing your inner world. Each decision to keep, donate, or discard an item can become an act of self-definition and empowerment. This process of organization can serve as a powerful metaphor for your healing journey. Just as you decide what deserves space in your home, you can also decide which relationships, beliefs, and behaviors deserve space in your life. Remember, healing is not linear. There will be days when the mess feels overwhelming and others when you feel capable of conquering the world. Both days are an important part of your journey. As you progress in your healing and organizational journey, it's essential to build a new narrative for yourself. This narrative should be based on compassion, understanding, and personal growth. Replace thoughts like "I'm a messy person" with "I'm learning to create order in my life." Swap "I'll never be able to keep things organized" with "I'm developing new skills and habits every day." This shift in perspective will not only help with the organization process, but will also strengthen your emotional resilience and self-esteem. Don't underestimate the power of connecting with others who have gone through similar experiences. Support groups, both online and in person, can offer a sense of community, validation, and valuable resources. Sharing your experiences and hearing others' stories can be incredibly therapeutic. You may also find practical tips and strategies that other survivors of narcissistic abuse have found helpful in their own journeys of healing and organization. The journey of overcoming narcissistic abuse and turning clutter into order is challenging but incredibly rewarding. Every step you take toward organization is a step toward your own liberation and empowerment. Remember, true organization isn't just about having a tidy space, but about creating an environment that nurtures your emotional well-being and reflects who you truly are. As you clear your physical space, you are also clearing space in your mind and heart for new possibilities, growth, and joy. You are stronger than you think and more capable than you realize. The mess that once seemed like a reflection of your internal chaos can become a testament to your resilience and ability to heal. So the next time you look at that pile of clothes or that messy drawer, remember, each small act of organization is an act of self-love and a step toward a fuller, more authentic life. You have the power to transform not just your space, but your entire life. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's an entire community of survivors and supporters ready to walk beside you toward a brighter, more organized future.